Well, you're watching this morning on ITV. Thank you so much for staying with us. Well, right now we're turning our attention over to look at what is going on the foreign scene. Donald Trump has been in the news, and I literally knew this was going to happen when we saw him win the President of the United States of America. He came in with so many executive orders regarding illegal immigration, regarding the issue of having your birthright, and so many other things. And still, something really worth talking about is still on the front burner right now. Well, joining us to do justice to this is Professor Cyril. He joins us virtually this morning to take us through everything regarding all of this. Good morning, Prof, and welcome.
Good morning, and how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good, good.
So, Trump's presidency, what do you make out of it? What was the first thing that came to your head when you saw that he was crowned the president, if I'm to say the word crown?
First of all, let me say it clear that Trump has been my candidate from day one, and I knew he must come back because what God has ordained must come to pass. So, for Trump's second coming, it's just a gift to humanity. That's how I've looked at it, and that is how I will classify it as a single person.
So America tends to be very big when it comes to gender rights. And looking at the emergence of the Trump's administration, he tends to be setting the record straight, especially looking at it from the aspect of two gender that is globally known, which is the male and female. Now, what is your view as regards he streamlining it so that it becomes criminal if any individual is identified publicly as being a transgender?
About 2 years back, when I discovered that even in some of our institutions of learning in Nigeria here, we have that exhibition of madness in certain persons who feels biologically they were giving birth to as male or female, but along the line, through the use of steroid drugs and some other things, they feel that they can transform, and this funny name came, transgender. And the problem is that when issues of health like this start coming up, and one or two persons who has that training tries to communicate with WHO, I mean World Health Organization, they take it with all levity of self-interest and throw it aside. How can somebody who is giving birth to as a male will tell you that there is a process he will go through and become a female? It's madness, complete madness. So his pronunciation on transgender is even very late, because if some of us had loud voice, maybe, for example, if I was a world president or a president of a country, for the past 2 years, we have been on issues of transgender, that it is inhuman for somebody, and it's very highly deceptive for you to say you were giving birth to as a male or a female and you are now transforming. And when you go to our schools these days, they are there. And the funny thing is that some of them, for example, who has transformed from male to female, lives in girls' hostel. So the after effect is that very soon you will see unclassified children coming up again. Then you see issues of sexual abuse, because whatever they do to themselves as a male, the reproductive organ still functions, which shows that what God has designed in terms of sex of a child remains even till after death, genetically. So his pronunciation is welcome, but I even classify it as belated, because I thought there was a president there before, and they have a president across all countries in the world, but nobody takes the pains to say, let's look at these issues on a situation and counter them. 2-3 years ago, that transgender, there is no way you can transform a male to a female. No, a male remains a male, a female remains a male, even at death.
Before I allow my colleague to come in, there's been these reactions, especially looking at it from the religious point of view, because if you come to look at it closely, America, as it were, is built on a religious background, looking at it from the angle of in God we trust mantra that they have been, riding on for quite a while. And now seeing the reaction from the religious point of view that Trump should, show some level of forgiveness or pardon to certain persons who are transgender, considering the fact that they do most of the menial jobs in America, jobs that an average American white man might not be able to do. So what's your take on that?
It's complete human madness, because even the religious book you are talking about, let's take the Bible for example. In Genesis, he said he created them male and female. He said there is a creation between male and female. There is one that is classified as transgender. No, even God himself created them male and female. And for what purpose? Procreation. So if, for example, you transform from a male to a female, following the process of transgenic process or whatever they classify it, can they give birth? Answer me, can they give birth? Let's ask ourselves questions. The science of these days is becoming something that is, I look at science of these days as knowledge that is designed by mad heads, where anything goes. So if from the same religious book, it is written that they were classified male and female for purpose of living, which is living things, for purpose of also reproduction, procreation, then somebody who is said he has had that training as a religious person, as a pastor, as a deacon, as a this, is now saying no, that they should allow transgender. Let the person show us inside the religious book from where he or she was trained, to prove to us that when God created, there was a class in between male and female. So it's not madness. Complete one. Sick heads.
Right, so still staying on a couple of executive orders that we saw Donald Trump reeled out on his inauguration day, amongst which was the issue of the exit from the World Health Organization. We saw Trump clearly pull out America out of it, and of course we know the stake America always, churning in terms of money to World Health Organization. And interestingly, we saw China come out to say, you know what, we're going to support you. We're going to give you all the necessary financial support that you need, to the World Health Organization. What do you make out of all of it? And what do you think is going on?
Yes, you see, Trump, I have said, Trump's second coming is a divine appearance of one single man who is bold enough to take that bull by the horn and design and make laws that will protect humanity. You see, WHO at the onset was designed to protect life. But all of a sudden, WHO became a virus, became a poison that kills the same human being they feel they are defending. I am ready to be challenged by any person. Several years ago, not less than 10 years, I have been on them on issues of sickle cell anemia, where a doctor tells you that he can turn a male to a female, then that doctor is not a doctor. He is not trained in normal academic environment. So also WHO will come out and tell you that somebody cured sickle cell. Show us who was cured. They will not see it. Then they come with different pandemics and telling me and every scientist who is bold enough to talk like some of us who challenges them that virus is a living thing. See, COVID-19 was an opener for the whole world to know that WHO has failed in their responsibility to protect humanity. They came and told us one virus came from somewhere, is a living thing. I said, how many cells does it have? They cannot say anything. How can it be a living thing when it does not have cells? So I challenged WHO. I said, look inward and find out what is happening in Wuhan lab. I did remember that while COVID-19, few days after COVID-19, I had the opportunity to, somebody called me, even from the White House, and said, we watched your video and your stand on COVID-19, and I will want you to write America President. I wrote him, and he gave me all the guidelines to write him, who the same man that has returned few weeks before he left seat as American President. I said, no. I said, look inward. The top scientists, the 5 top scientists are Americans. Elizabeth is number 1. Elizabeth died 2017. They should find out the symptoms of She exhibited before she died. And what was she doing? She was preparing a virus in Wuhan lab. And all the symptoms she exhibited before she died because she mistakenly sniffed a part of the virus she was preparing. Check history, check record on the same Google owned by them. And that woman died after exhibiting all symptoms of COVID-19 far back 2017. Then there is a chap, the smallest boy that was advertised on COVID as the youngest child that died of COVID-19. I traced the history. And that boy died when he mistakenly touched a crashed thermometer. There is mercury inside thermometer. So he rubbed his nose and exhibited symptoms of COVID-19. But as far back as 2019, when that boy died, they showed the video during COVID-19 as the youngest man that was killed by COVID-19. WHO are aware of all these tricks and all these funny videos that they show to the world. So if you are giving the just hold on. If you are giving the responsibility to protect life, and you that is giving the responsibility to protect life is now aiding and abetting conditions that will destroy life, then that body stands to be bound. I don't even understand why Nigeria is still waiting to dissociate themselves from WHO and all the countries around the world because they are afraid in their responsibility to protect life. That's my position. And I want to give a thumbs up to Trump. He is my president. And I know him that he has come as a divine means to protect life again, to separate the truth from lies. So if somebody can transform from male to female, then, and he's saying no to it, then he's saying no to virus trading. That WHO has failed in their responsibility. I stand by him. It's a good one. And he's going to protect life.
All right, so while you tend to be embracing the Trump's administration, also you made a very strong indictment of the World Health Organization of being responsible for pandemic. So are you saying the COVID-19 was actually a deliberate one from the organization?
COVID-19, ITV, I always mention ITV because it was the first station with which 2 days, it was less than 48 hours when they declared COVID-19, that I, as a single scientist, declared it a fraud, that COVID-19 is a scam. Find out, check your records on videos. And those same videos was even watched as far as even America, where I addressed a virtue conference.
So it seems
COVID-19, and I declared it a scam. I still stand by it that COVID-19 was a scam because it was a prepared entity. Because we were told it's a virus and it's a living thing. And I proved it out as a genetic that it was never a living thing. And I said it was produced in Wuhan lab. Yes.
Right. If you can hear me, I feel like everything you've just been saying are just, allegations until proven to be correct. But I would love us to still stay on the issue of the World Health Organization. Now, with America's exit from WHO, what's going to be the impact for the organization moving forward?
Well, the impact is that they will now feel that pains of sense of belonging and readdress themselves and employ and engage scientists who will be able to stand by way of truth to defend humanity, not trading on virus, and which is not even a new thing to them. They know what it is, and they know how they come about it. If I ask you a question, you are a woman. Many years ago, there's this drug they call titi powder, that when you give birth to a child, you put under the tongue. I have asked, let people go and find out whether they will still see that drug and find out the components of that drug. And you see heavy metals. What does heavy metals do to the body? And those drugs are approved by WHO. I've mentioned just now, you are talking about allegation. I have mentioned issues of sickle cell cure. Have you people help us to ask some of them who are in WHO, ask the president of WHO to come and prove to me, to show me one person who has sickle cell anemia and was transformed and was cured of sickle cell anemia. So when we are talking, they are not allegations. We are accusing them face to face so that they can come out and prove their own side of it and show it to us point blank. This is a human being. That was when the child was born, and that was the genotype. Now the genotype has changed from SS to AA or to AS. Then we will know that what they are saying is right, but we are saying no, there is no way. Some of those health principles they are coming with are fraudulent and very dangerous, and they are part of population control. I don't cease to mention all these concepts, and I will continue to cry on it until, see, there is a recent publication, find out, from CIA on this same COVID-19, and has finally declared it after how many years? It took me 2 days research to classify it as a scam, and they have just come out to declare it that it was a humanly prepared entity. It was not divine. It was not created by God. No,
Right,
humanly created
Cyril.
entity, and that was why in history of COVID-19 you will hear the bat, you will hear China market. I have records.
So now let's now talk
Thank
about
you.
this one that is ongoing right now. This is also a major issue at this point because just recently we saw Colombia government react in a funny way when Donald Trump returned illegal migrants back to their country, Colombia. And we saw that Colombia government said, no way, we do not want, please take them back. And there's been a bit of tussle, including trade war as well. What do you make out of it?
Are they not ashamed of themselves, saying that they don't want to accept their citizens back? Did America produce their citizens for them? It's funny, very, very funny. If your citizens feel that you have failed as a government and they move, then wherever they now settle, the people are saying, no, you are becoming a body to them. You have your own country. Go back to your country. They have not done anything wrong. If you take Nigeria, for example, there are Nigerians who are outside too. So if they return them tomorrow, are we now going to start challenging America? No. What we are supposed to do is to look inward and develop ourselves, develop our country, make provisions that such conditions that they go to seek outside, you make provisions available for your citizens and they will not move. If they now say, there's no way you visit somebody and you turn the person's home to your home. No, it's not possible. That's fraud. You are hijacking a process. So let Colombia government develop their country. Let every country. America was not developed by God coming down from heaven to earth to develop America. They were humans who decided to develop that environment. Let every other country develop their place and let their people remain. Let president or let leaders of a country don't open mouth and talk shamelessly and classifying somebody's action as wicked for say, let your people return back home. It's even a form of cost those days when they banish people. You send them out of the highest punishment you give to people those days when they commit something that is against humanity, is abnormal, is to banish them from home. You send them away and they feel the pains because you are sending them out of home. So these days, we even feel that living home is now a blessing, which is a wrong blessing. So let them return home. Let everybody return, and let everybody, depending on the country where you come from, contribute your own quota. Challenge the government if they are not doing right, so that every other country can be developed as America. What if me and you decide to leave too? ITV will now move to America. Then nobody will operate ITV in Nigeria. Then that is here. But the little I contribute to my community, if I go to America, Colombia should take a word and let them develop themselves and leave that man alone. He's doing right and he's doing very well.
I would tend to agree with you that America never produced these migrants. They actually migrated from their country of descent to another country as a result of failed leadership. But then, can you also be very much balanced in your assertion of, okay, if they have to go back to their country, are you also aware that these ones have been in America for quite a while, perhaps working and also contributing to the country's GDP for this number of years? So how would you see it as being humane to wake up one day and say they should go back to their country of descent? Would that be right in a proper perspective if you want to look at it from that point of view?
Contribution to GDP is dynamic. People move, people drift, and that is why we are living things. And the first thing, the characteristic that you consider for a living thing is mobility. You have possibility to move, so they should move. They went there, so they can also come back with the knowledge they have gotten there. Let them bring it and contribute back here. So it makes balance. It makes the economy even more balanced. So they cannot continue to remain there. Do they not retire? Do some of them not work and retire, even in that same America where they are? I'm asking a question. They do. So which means there is nothing that is permanent. So their contribution is for a while.
Yes, in as much as they can also return back. An individual has the right to reside wherever he wants to, for as long as he's law-abiding. So if these ones have been law-abiding for this number of years, crime-free, so why would you want to force them to go home against their own will?
What are the same people? Sorry, there is exceptions to every law. What if the same people says that you are creating overpopulation? You are even choking them up. There is no space for you. Can't you go back home? Can't you contribute the same thing you are contributing there back home here? Can't our government create opportunity for jobs? How many governors has come into power in Nigeria, for example, and the first thing they will announce is creation of jobs? How many of them? How many of them? Then you see people celebrating a governor that is constructing roads. Construction of roads is not provisions. It's not. There are basic amenities that the government, a functional government, should make available to the people. But things like job, if you engage one citizen, you have made provisions for plenty persons in the line of that family in terms of livelihood. Hope you know that. So at the end of the day, like me, for example, I am working. Then whatever I receive as salary, I take it back home. I have improved, by taking it back home, I touch lives. Then I improve their economic conditions. So that's what people should be thinking about. Not everybody drifting to America, not everybody drifting to Germany. If you go there, some of us do visit these countries. The class of job, 80%, 90% of them do. How do you classify it? How do you classify the job? Some of them are majorly maniac jobs, but they pay heavily for those maniac jobs. Find out. So when we say provisions of job, we should look at what entails in those jobs that have been created. What do they do? How many of them actually do this job? Those are the things we look into. Then we talk about population every day. Are you now ruling out America that population will not affect them? So if on population ground, they are moving people. Then two, if on the fact that their own citizens are growing up too, and they need job, and this job will be taken over by you and I, who is foreign to them, then they have the right also to tell you to go back home and work for your people and develop your home. He mentioned it. I listened to Trump. He gave a defense for himself that it is high time you go back and develop your country. Let the government make provisions. He sounded it very clear. We are not sounding it as part of our shortcomings to develop ourselves. And we are blaming somebody who is far away from us. No. I don't do that. It shows weakness. It shows lack of provisions for our citizens. We lack care for our citizens after going into power. Yes.
All right. So now let's look at let's just leave that aside and look at the issue of childbirth citizenship, which is also part of the burning issue right now that the world right now is considering. What is your take on that as we speak?
Number one, I'm not a lawyer, but however, when laws are made, laws are flexible. They can be reverted. They can be averted. They know the concept they use. I'm not a lawyer. So when he says coming to America and getting American citizenship through birth, they have stopped it for a while. He has used the word for now. It has been stopped. They own their country. They have said if you not see, let me tell you, hope you know that if we now want to start tracing signs, some of those who are claiming citizenship in America, the process of reproduction did not start in America. Some get pregnant here when they are 5 months pregnant, then they travel to America. You have carried a Nigerian citizen to America because that child was fertilized here under Nigeria environmental conditions. So it genetically carries Nigeria environmental conditions. Then you now move. Then you give birth there. Then they say, okay, because you gave birth here, we have given your child citizenship. But now they are saying, no, we are putting a pen on that. There must be a reason for it. And it will not be far-fetched from abuse conditions. abuse conditions. So for every person who stands to make a revert of a law, does not just wake up one day to do it. There must be a reason for it. So if you find out, then you and I, if we sit down to take part of truth, we accept some of these conditions that he is giving.
Okay, Professor Cyril, if you can hear me. Now, with all of this thing that we've highlighted so far, all of the executive orders, one would now start thinking. And interestingly, it's so glaring to see that you're a great, strong supporter of Trump. But according to you, his second comment, don't you think he's just trying to make a statement with all of the executive orders and how he's going about trying to, enforce all of them? What do you make about it, really?
It's not just making a statement. He's not making a statement. He's making rules that will protect lives. Everything he is talking about has reason. Why is China supporting him on some of those conditions? Is the Wuhan lab not in China for many years? So if they now think inward and say, for the first time, this is a truthful voice, like that lowly voice in the wilderness, then they are keyed into it. Then you are saying it's not a statement. It's a life condition that we must imbibe. There are strongholds to protect lives. That's how I look at him. And that's how I look at that voice. And anytime I hear him say, if he says anything that is wrong, I will also challenge him. I will personally challenge him. But for all these ones you have mentioned, I give him my 100. If there's 150% support, he has my 150% support because he has done wrong. He has not done wrong in any of them, either the transgenic, either the WHO, either the citizenship. No. Let's be proud of ourselves. Let's be proud of our color. Let's remain where we are and develop. If we don't develop our home, nobody will develop it for us. Hope you agree too.
Well, there's been so many reactions, counter-reactions to Donald Trump inauguration, or would I say presidency, with all of the things that we have been seeing, been discussed on the front burner regarding the executive order from illegal immigration down to the health sector, exit from WHO. The list is actually endless. But right now would be turning our attention over to how all of this is going to impact Nigeria. And of course, we also saw Nigerians react to the fact that our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, wasn't invited to the inauguration. We saw how that, actually found out on social media. But let's not also forget we had other amazing Nigerians representatives there in America where we had that event happen. But I still have my guest with me joining virtually from Noverna University, Professor Cyril, to run us through all of this just for a moment. So, Professor Cyril, implications for us Nigerians, what does it truly mean?
Yes, Trump's actions so far, implications on Nigeria. I, as a single person, I see development coming. I see that serious trend for we to sit down and readjust ourselves coming very soon. Let me explain something. At a point in time for the past 10 years, if you check record of drift of persons from Nigeria, professionals, medical line, for example, let me take the medical and academic because I am a university lecturer. You see drift of experienced medical doctors. You see drift of highly professional and trained professors in the university in specific and important areas of learning, moving. These persons will go there and now use their knowledge to develop to that environment. Because why? Because they give them good environment to thrive. So if we now experience bringing such people back, then those patients in our specialist hospital who are now having baby doctors attending to them because the father doctors has run away to look for better future for themselves and their family, will have opportunity to have a second time to live. Then if you look at our engineers that have left, then when they now come back, we will now have engineers that will build roads that will last, not roads that will follow every tenor of governorship that comes. Then if you look at of recent, I read about a Nigerian chap who develops softwares robot softwares, and he's there. He's far away. He's no more in Nigeria. He ran away. But if that guy is back here and he starts producing things that will assist humanity to thrive, then we will get developed like America is. So I see all this action. I pray that they are being implemented fastly, very fastly, speedily, so that when they return and they are given opportunity and the conditions to experiment, to implement what they have learned, or that divine training that they have given to themselves, even here and over there, then we'll have that advantage to run. Are we not talking of petroleum, for example? We take crude oil from here to South Africa. How many scientists do South Africa have that Nigeria does not have to refine crude oil, to turn into petrol that we will consume? Then we'll take things away and we'll bring them back. Are there no human beings where we take them to refine them? Are they better scientists than we are? So I see development coming. So it's a positive effect that is going to give to Nigeria, is going to give to Africa, and it's going to even give to the general world. Charity begins at home. Charity does not begin abroad. When they come back home, all of us will sit down here to contribute. If I'm far away and you cannot reach me, the little contributions I gave during COVID-19 to save life, are we going to save them? So that's the question we should be asking ourselves.
Professor Cyril.
Well,
honestly, I feel that and say
it's coming as a divine force to save life. Yes, it's going to develop Nigeria. It's going to develop Africa. Let's come back home and contribute our quota. Let's develop ourselves first. Self first. Charity begins at home.
Well, honestly, Professor Cyril, I honestly know that there are some Nigerians who would say, we really do not want to come back, you know. We're enjoying all of the benefits and all of the amazing organizational structures that we have over there in America. Yeah. And you are just all about the fact that Nigerians should come back and fix your country. But what does it mean, coming back to a place where the system is really not working, or the system wouldn't be palatable for them, especially in the medical sector? Well, every time we get to see a lot of doctors complain of how they are being treated poorly, of how remuneration is not even it, and then when they travel over there, it's a completely different ballgame entirely. So what would you say to that?
Well, it's individual basis, but I am not the type of person that captures financial benefit first. No. Your contribution to your country, your divine contribution matters most first. Then two, we can come together. Are we not the citizens? Are we not the people that design the government? Are we not the people that dictate what we receive? Yes. If you check, in America, there are human beings who are leaders, who are in authority. In Nigeria, it's human beings that are in authority, which means the same factor. So when we now come back and all of us sit down together and tell the government, this is what it is. Okay, you mentioned financial benefit. Let's look at it. You are in Nigeria, you are doing a job and you are paid 50,000 naira. Then you go to America. You are doing the same job because you cannot do the job that you don't know when you go to America. It's based on your experience. It's based on your training. They will engage you. So they know what you have learned. They know the stuff inside you that they want to tap, because you cannot give what you don't have. You can't give. Then they will engage you and give you 50,000 here in Nigeria and give you 500,000 in America.
Okay, Professor Cyril.
But from that, you pay tax and some other things. So let's improve our condition. We can increase our salary.
The conversation here now, Professor Cyril, if you can hear me. But I really must thank you so much for, finding out time to grace our moment today. Hopefully we have another time to talk more regarding this. I have been speaking to Professor Cyril from Novena University. Thank you so much for coming on board. Well, that's how we get to wrap things up regarding the coming back of Donald Trump right there in America.